Come on in. What are we hunting tonight? Why don't you just decloak and have a seat right over there? That's right, right over there. Why? Well, because this is Predator and Prey. Which are you? I'm Chris Hansen.
Welcome, listeners, back to another episode of Predator and Prey, the Yautja podcast. I am one of your hosts from the Hotu clan, Justin the Owl, and I am joined, as always, by my fellow member of the Hotu clan, the High Priest of Khonshu himself, Ray. How are you, Ray?
Bonjour, Justin. How are you? Can't wait to get into what we got today. It's been a while, as always. It's always great to see you, be able to catch up and chat. As I said, I feel like, as I mentioned, I feel like I'm a little bit of borrowed time, but I'm not going to try to let that worry me. But yeah, here we are in beautiful, European surrounds.
Yes.
Albeit with mustard gas and all
mustard
that.
gas and shells going off around us and decapitated bodies everywhere.
Yeah.
Just another day. Just another day.
Just another day. But no, really happy to be here, Justin. I mean, we've got a classic tale for a lot of Yautja fans, a lot of the Hotu clan members clambering for the old Dark Horse stuff. We've got some Dark Horse stuff for them, don't we?
Yeah, we do. I had been clamoring myself, too, to go back to the omnibus because, like this story that we're going to cover today, there's several stories in the omnibus that I haven't read before. These are all new to me, so I've been really excited to check these out. And today we have selected a 2-issue story from the omnibus, The Bloody Sands of Time. Which, Ray, I think, you said that this was one of your very first Predator comics that you read.
Justin, I'm so flattered. You remembered that? Yeah, exactly. This, exactly. This was one of the first. I remember it fondly. Being such a big fan. I think it was even before I watched Predator 2 in the cinemas with my friend. Yeah. This was off the back of just the love of Predator, and then I started getting into comics, then discovered Dark Horse, and Predator have comics, and this was, I think it was, dare I say, it was the first Predator series I collected.
Wow,
so
issues. Cool!
Yeah, so holds a special place in my heart. As a young little tacker, my eyes were opened with the likes of gratuitous violence, nudity, sex. It was all there. Language. So this was this is not a Marvel comic. This is not a Marvel
this
comic.
Is much different animal here.
Exactly.
I'm just imagining your reaction.
Little fella. Lingered on a couple of the pages as you would when you're little. Good morning, Noel. We are live streaming, so yes. If you're listening to the podcast, there are some live streamers dropping their lines, dropping some thoughts in. So it should be good. Good to see you, Noel. See you around. But Justin, you haven't read this, right? This is one of the
This was one of the ones. A lot of the Dark Horse Comics Present stuff. I didn't read any of those. I read the 4-part stories that were collected later, like Bad Blood and ones like that.
Oh, Bad Blood. It's so good.
Yeah. And Dark River and a couple of other ones. So the ones that appeared in the Dark Horse Comics Presents title, I missed a lot of those.
Oh yeah, me
So
too as well.
yeah.
I don't think I retro read them until much later.
Mm,
But yeah, and I want to get this out now before I forget the point of, isn't it interesting, Justin? Like what we're covering is like a 2-issue story,
mhm.
and it just feels like complete.
It
Um,
does.
I know that
Yeah.
sounds weird, but I'm just kind of comparing it to some modern comics where
Mhm.
2 issues is not enough. Like you
No.
know you wouldn't be able to fit it in. Even as fun and as good as we've covered with Ed Brisson's run,
Mhm.
that seems like everything's crammed in, you know.
Definitely.
Whereas this is 2 issues, and it felt like that was all you needed, like
Mhm.
the 50 pages that it was. So yeah, no, that was a good point. An observation I made.
Yeah, I agree with that, and a lot of these, there's a lot of dialogue that happens in this story, but there's also a lot of glorious full page spreads and stuff. We get to see the resplendent artwork in its true glory. So, it, yeah, it's really interesting how they managed to edit this story into 2 concise issues and have it feel so complete.
Mm. And it's a very, I mean, we'll get into, I guess we'll get into it soon enough, Justin, before we just do some of the housekeeping. But yeah, it was very cool. It was very thematic, wasn't it? Like,
Mm,
it was, I felt, not that I read a lot of them, like war comics, but it just felt like that sort of comic. And it seemed
yeah.
that the writer, is it Dave Warner? I can't remember.
Was,
Eh, I I just
um,
feel that, you know, he had the finger on the pulse with the historical information. It didn't have
mhm.
to obviously be totally accurate, but it just felt really grounded in that sense.
Yeah,
So
I agree. It felt really real, like they had done their homework
yeah,
on
yeah,
World War One and Vietnam and all this stuff. Like
yeah,
they'd done the heavy research.
yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I'm just flicking through. So I've as I'm
Just
assuming you are as well, Justin. I'm
mm,
reading this off the omnibus.
yes.
Um,
Yes, me
which is
too.
a great tome of book. It's great though. It's a good
Yeah, it's
collection.
great. I was gonna comment too on how impressed I was with the colors of
Mm,
this in this
yeah.
reproduction. They're really vibrant. They're really I don't obviously I didn't read the original floppy, so
Mm.
I can't say how those compare to those, but I was really impressed with
Oh,
that. I thought it looked really
yeah.
good.
I think much is it to do with the paper quality, Justin, because I think, you
Mm,
know, back in the day, it was back then, and it's probably even more so now, very like faded and stuff. You know how the ink really
mhm.
sinks into the paper back in those days.
Yeah,
Um,
definitely.
this looks much better, and I think with the omnibus. Look, I haven't got my ruler out here, Justin, but I think it's slightly bigger. Like the panels feel bigger, like that they
Mm,
feel,
mhm.
you know, the text, everything feels a little bit bigger than just reading the comics. So
It
that
does.
was really good as
Yeah.
well.
That was one major gripe that I had about the Dark Horse omnibuses that they put out back in the day,
Ah,
was that
yeah, yeah,
they always had the omnibuses were always small. They
mm,
were always like 6 by 9 or something like that.
yeah.
I thought, "What is this about? What are you
It,
doing, Dark Horse? What is this?"
I mean, that is a prime example of friggin' budget over
Yeah.
quality. You know, I mean, it's like you're not doing your artist justice, like your creators
No.
justice. So
No,
yeah.
cramming it all in those small little pages. I
Oh, it's
bought
terrible.
one of those, not realizing the dimensions of it online, and then
Mm.
when I got it, I was like, "Oh, it's one of these little ones. Ooh."
Yeah, exactly. Got the magnifying glass out, you know?
I'm an old
Bloody
man, I've
hell.
got lousy eyes. I needed the print to look bigger than this.
Um,
Oh,
but before that, Justin, I mean, I guess as you know, we are obligated to do
mm.
some news and such. Shall we get into some news?
Yes, if yeah, definitely.
Sure.
Hardcore special report. It's
Hardcore.
funny, actually, Ray. It was just the other day. I was scrolling through TV and I caught a glimpse of a documentary on Morton Downey Jr.
Oh, wow. Lucky you.
Harrigan, Harrigan. Yeah, it was so funny.
But I mean, he would be an interesting fella to kind of
Oh, it was interesting. Yeah,
look into.
he had some major daddy issues. Let's put it that way.
Wow. Yeah, yeah. From what I garnered from Russell, it doesn't seem to be that upstanding a chap.
No.
News-wise, Justin, I haven't got it. I mean, I haven't got
Yeah,
anything. Not
I don't think I do either. I read something about a possible that something was moving ahead with the Prey sequel,
okay.
but I don't think that anything's been officially confirmed yet. I think they're just rumors at this point.
Yeah, I think we covered much of it in our last episode, I
Mhm,
believe, or the episode before about the the actors
mhm.
announced for is it Badlands? I can't remember. Is Badlands?
Badlands, yeah, I think that's what it's called now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Comics wise, we've covered. Oh, actually there was a lot of news last month.
The
With
announcement for yeah,
yeah,
Black
yeah,
Panther
yeah,
and Predator, yeah.
yeah. So a bit quiet on this front. We don't have Russell to tell us any of the figures news. But
Mhm.
I've seen on Discord some people have bought like some really nice the neck of the feral one. So that's really good. I mean, keep it
Yeah,
up, Yautja
definitely.
fans.
And
Um,
share your pictures with us on Discord if you'd like. Would love to see
yeah.
if you
Oh,
have
absolutely.
added any to your collection and would like to show them off. We'd love to see that.
Yeah, I've gone a little bit quiet, Justin, with the action figure buying more
Yeah, me too.
recently.
Me
But
too,
I'd
yeah.
love to get back into it. Just
Mm,
finding the disposable income.
yeah,
There's so many things
eventually.
to get. So many things to get.
I know. This
Omnibuses, epic collections.
omnibuses and epic collections and oh,
What?
yeah.
Oh my god.
Yep.
Um, anyway, and also as well, just incidentally, I culled my pull list from my
Oh,
LCS.
oh, you did?
Was big, yeah, but but then I added a few more on, a few more on. I
Are you
just
gonna
never
be collecting the new X titles, or do you have any
Yeah, so
Yeah.
I'm dropping Jed McKay's Avengers,
Mhm,
and Doctor Strange. As much as I kind of love him, but it just I've
mm,
really just got to be a little bit more
mhm.
picky.
Right.
But Jed's releasing the X-Men
Yeah.
title, so I've got to try that. And I wanted to get I think it's Gail Simone. I can't remember who, but there's
Yes. Yes.
I
Gail
want to get that.
Simone,
But
yeah.
I don't know if I can afford it though. Yeah. So anyway,
I hear you. There's so many X titles
so
coming out that I'm interested in too. It's like, how am I going to be able to get all
I
these?
know, I know. Oh my god.
Oh,
It's gonna be so cool. Psylocke as well.
I know. 2
Yeah.
well, actually, Betsy's on X-Force, and there's Quanon on, one of the X teams, so
What are you
I'm
gonna
it's
do?
I love it. I love it. So good.
um, yeah. So yeah, not much news on that front as well.
Yeah, that's okay. We'll have some more news to come, I'm sure, in the next month or so.
Yeah. Do you have anything by way of the trophy room?
No, actually, no, it's been pretty quiet on the buying front. Yeah,
Okay.
been
I
saving some money, yeah.
Okay, I do have one. And well, yeah, of course, you starting a new job and stuff. It's going to
Mhm,
be it's kind of like wait until the money comes
right.
raking in, and then
That's
then you
right.
spend big.
Then I'll get some treasures, yeah, absolutely. But you did
I've
get
got,
something, right? Yeah?
I did get something. Look, let me just
Okay.
play the little thing. Not
Yeah.
predator related, but it
No,
kind
that's
of.
fine. Yeah, yeah.
So, um, people know. Oh, hang on, we got
Oh, hey,
Rasucha
Russell.
has hello ho
Rasucha.
to mates. Yeah, hello ho to mates. Sorry, I couldn't
Oh,
make
we
it
miss you,
today.
Russell. Yeah, that's
She'll be
okay.
back next.
We'll see you next time. Yeah.
That's okay. No, no, Russell's got a very he's got an important appointment that he kind of
Yes.
had booked in. So absolutely, Russell, smoke him dead there with that, and yeah, we'll catch you back in
Yeah.
no time soon.
Ghost Stories with David Papose, if you haven't checked it out.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's
didn't know
Russell's
whether
latest
that
show,
was
and it's
a
wonderful.
yeah, I didn't know whether that was confidential or not, Justin. But
Oh.
yeah, that's okay. No, I didn't know that. It is, yeah. So he's got a chat with David Propose, which is fantastic.
Yeah, yeah.
And Space
Brent
Ghost. It's good.
yeah. Covering the new
Uh,
series from Dynamite. Check it out. Yeah.
I mean, all these properties, all these franchises are doing great guns. And that's another one I dropped, unfortunately, Thundercats. But Thundercats is doing really
Oh,
good.
yeah. I'm glad
I
that's
got
still doing well. Yeah.
I mean, I got the first 3 issues, and it's great. It's good.
Nice.
But again, just finances.
Mm.
So Justin, everyone knows by now because I keep on boring them to death about I love playing games.
Mhm.
And there's one game I play, Final Girl. It
Oh,
is a
yeah.
one person player. So you only
Mhm.
play it with one person. The whole idea of it is you get expansions or boxes which are feature films, and it's all to do with you are the final girl, and you go through these horror, as if you're in a horror movie. It's really good. It's
Mhm.
really immersive,
Ooh, I
atmospheric,
like. Yeah.
and there are obviously on the nose references. So the core box, the opening box was Hans the Butcher at Camp Happy Trails, and it's very much Jason, right?
Mm.
Friday the 13th. He's got a mask. He kills people. There's another
Mhm.
one, Dr. Fright, Nightmare on Maple Lane.
Oh,
It's Freddy
Freddy
Krueger.
Krueger. Yes,
Yeah.
yeah. Nice.
Anyway, I'm cutting through to it. There's one called the USS Conrad, and the final girl
Mm.
is called Ellen, and
Oh.
the the monster or is called an evomorph. It evolves,
Ooh.
and so that's obviously aliens, right? So
Yeah, yeah.
I someone on Discord for Final Girl said, "Oh, you got to pick up all these expansions." And there's one here that is kind of like if you love Predator. There's one that's like a Predator version.
Oh,
So,
really?
okay, yeah. So I thought, okay, cool, and I picked it up. If you can see it here, this is
Nice.
it's a really cool packaging. It looks like
That is so cool. It looks like a book. Yeah.
it's
Or VHS.
double sided. Oh, it's really good,
Yeah.
Justin. I'll show you. Look, just quickly, you take off the lids. There's double sided lids, and you've got the boards on either
Oh,
side. So
nice.
you've
Oh,
got a
that's really
location
cool.
board. It is,
Yeah.
yeah. It's all magnetic, and then you've got the killer board on this side.
Oh, I love it.
Anyway, I've got sorry. Yeah. Anyway, this one is apparently like Predator themed. You fight like an unholy being called Inkanyamba. I think it's a mythological
Ooh.
killer.
Mhm.
I played it. It kind of it's very tenuous, the link to Predator. I mean, you're in like a jungle,
Mhm.
and that's about it. You're in
Is
a
that it?
jungle like with
Yeah.
tourists, and Inkanyamba is killing
Hmm.
tourists, and you have to kind of save them, and then so that's really
Hmm.
not like Predator,
But he's not
but
invisible, and, like, he's not stealthed, like, he
he's
doesn't
not
have a stealth
invisible.
deal, he
He's
doesn't
not
have
an
a
alien.
he doesn't have a laser cannon.
No, no, nothing. So it's I hope because season 3 of Final Girl will
Oh,
release will release another 5 different expansions or 5 feature films,
nice.
and one of them is right on the nose, a Terminator one.
Okay.
So I'm hoping down the track that they'll do
Yeah.
one like a lot more obvious that it's a
Mhm.
Predator one. That would be it has to, I mean, come on. Anyway.
Maybe they're working their way up to it, hopefully, yeah.
I
That'd be
hope
so
so.
cool. If you get that, yeah, I would love to do an episode on that, on the show
It's
where we do a playthrough of that. That'd be so
Oh,
cool.
it
Yeah.
is so fun. It is very fun indeed. It's pretty hard, so and there's a bit of luck involved, but that's exactly like the horror films, right?
True. That is
Final
true.
Girls, you rely on a little bit of luck.
Yeah.
So yeah.
How long do
So
those games usually take, Ray? About an hour or so?
an hour up to an hour and a half.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're a decent slab. They depending on how you survive.
Depending on how your luck holds out.
Yeah, I've had
Yeah.
them ranging from 40 minutes to about an hour and a half. So,
Oh,
um,
wow.
yeah,
Nice.
I've only won once, so that's any indication. I played under 10 times, but I've played 8 times. Not once I've won. So pretty.
I'll have to watch some of I think you added some of the playthroughs on your
Yeah,
channel, so I'll have to
yeah,
watch some of those. Yeah.
it's a lot of fun. They're all very
Nice.
different. So anyway,
Nice.
there you go. It was a tenuous connection to Predator. Final Girls in Kanyamba.
In Kenya, but I love the name. It's cool.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think it's based on a real mythology. I can't have to check,
Mm.
but
It
yeah,
sounds like it, yeah.
yeah. Anywho, I think it's time, Justin. Shall we jump
Yes, our
into the main
main
event?
topic. Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, so we're
Right.
here. Oh, let me see. All right, I haven't got it ready.
Oh.
I'm on Ray. Okay, there. Be okay now. There it is. So for those watching, you can
Yeah,
see Bloody Sands of Time, Justin.
yeah.
Two-parter, as we mentioned. Sorry, Dan Barry, not Chris Warner. I've got them all really. Dan Barry and Chris Warner is the artist, I do
Of the
believe.
artist, yeah.
Oh, Dan Barry also is the artist as well. Far out, very cool.
Oh,
Um, yeah, so Dan Barry on script as well as art with Chris Warner. Chris Warner is a very good artist, I must
yes,
say.
I love his stuff.
Mm. Now, before not going to go through page by page, Justin, but in a nutshell, I will say what happens is that in a more modern time, a CIA agent comes across a predator encounter,
Mhm.
and it's all kind of hush hush, right? And
Right,
he has a lawyer brought in, and funnily enough, the lawyer does some sleuthing, and he and his partner find some old documents dating back to World War One,
right. I
from
think
the
it was
French side. Sorry,
1916 or something like that. Yeah,
1916. Yeah,
yeah,
and
yeah.
there are some accounts, some diary accounts, which are eerily similar um, to what the CIA agent we saw earlier on saw. So yeah, we go through the tale in the war, and yeah, that's it in a nutshell, Justin. Um, First impressions, like what
I
did you make of this?
I was really surprised by this, reading
Mm.
it for the first time. Yeah, I knew that it took place in World War One, and that automatically piqued my interest because those type of stories always have an interest to me anyway. Um, but yeah, I was really surprised at kind of the twists and turns that this story took, and I loved the ending where where the German soldiers forced the general up out of the hide hole
Oh,
and sent him
towards
right at the predator. I loved that. I thought,
that
"Oh,
was a
that is perfect." Yeah.
cheering moment, wasn't
Yes,
it?
absolutely,
um,
absolutely.
yeah, I really enjoyed it as well. I totally forgot about the opening, about it in the modern times,
Mm,
how it
mhm,
was kind of set up. I kind of like how it was not like a first person kind of perspective, like the story wasn't based, with that French soldier. I like
mhm,
how like it was looking back, and it was all translated from French, and it was his document.
mhm.
So that was, I think a point of difference. Uh,
Yeah.
but yeah, no, it was really good. There was some, I mean, again, Justin, two issues chock full of really colorful characters. You were talking about that general. There's that other, was it the German soldier who ended up gobbling down the French food? He went up.
Oh,
There was Yeah,
yes.
and
Yeah,
the
yeah.
predator had attacked. Like some weird side stories in it as well. It just
Yeah,
felt really epic. Um,
yeah, there's a
but
lot of
yeah,
detail, a lot of different little details to this.
and the art. Talking about detail. I
Yeah,
mean, I haven't seen art like this, to be honest, in a long while.
yeah, me too.
It, it just seemed like those old war comics, and they
Mhm.
are always well detailed. I mean, look at that. That's the opening first page.
Yeah,
If you
so good. It
if
looks like a
you're
photograph almost with
It
that
does.
helicopter. It looks like a photograph.
Yes, and if you are listening to the podcast, we are on the video, looking at some of the panels from the comics. So just
Mhm,
references it to that. Beautiful colors, a lot of action. Oh my God, we're talking about like gunfire. Justin, I
mm,
think one of the main things I got from it was, oh my gosh, it's like the Predator is just a scary thing, but war itself is a horrible.
mm,
I mean, in particular, this Great War was a absolutely mortifying kind of experience it seemed to be in. Some really great writing. There was one bit where it's like the constant gunfire, could drive you mad, but then
mm,
when it
mhm.
got really silent, you're almost so stressed out because it's almost as if you're in the guillotine, waiting for that guillotine to
Right.
drop on you.
Yeah.
It just evokes so much kind of emotion about what it was like in the war. I thought it painted a really good picture. Um, yeah. I know if you thought, yeah, similar.
I agree completely. Yeah, and I always thought that it would be interesting to have a Predator movie or some type of visual thing take place in World War One.
Mm,
Because as I was reading the story, I was thinking, man, this would translate visually really interestingly if you saw from the perspective of a soldier on World War uh, on the battlefields and the trenches in World War One, this shimmering figure that all
mm,
of a sudden looked like it was in just as much desperate shape as you were. That was one
yeah.
thing that I was really impressed about with this story was that there was that panel where the Yautja were all just completely enracked with
Oh,
pain from the mustard gas.
yeah, that came in later. Yeah, that's right. Let me see if I can go to the next.
And I thought, wow, that's cool. I didn't really ever
Oh,
think of that. Like they wouldn't have really wagered on the fact that these human beings would be using gas weapons against each
yeah,
other.
yeah.
And so if they happen to have their masks off at the time when they use that gas, then
Hmm.
they're exposed to it as well. And I just thought too, like all the like Big Bertha, the big cannon that was shooting all those massive shells at
Yes.
the French, like all of that type of stuff, the Yucha getting caught in the middle of that.
Mm,
I think visually that would make for a really dynamic and thrilling story if it were done in a movie or even like in an animated form. I think it would be
yeah.
really cool.
Oh,
Yeah.
absolutely. I think because the Predator comics, I think during this early time in Dark Horse, it it sprouted from like the movies. I think a lot of the earlier ones really did have an eye on like how would it like cinematically look
Mhm.
like it
Yeah.
that's the feel I get, and I felt exactly the same like with you with this. It just felt like okay, this could translate so well in the
Mm,
movie. Um,
definitely. Yeah.
but here's the panel with the mustard
Yeah.
gas. It's just so that
It's
was
so
awful.
haunting. Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, not only for the Yautja, but you know the soldiers, and you
Mhm.
had this guy. I can't remember his name, but
The
yeah, he had that
general,
lieutenant,
yeah.
the general, lieutenant.
Yeah.
Yeah, oh sorry, the general. Really terrible. But yeah, I felt also as well, and I think this is good. It was that the Yautja's presence in these two issues was quite muted.
Mhm.
Um, it wasn't like what you didn't see it all the time. Like the whole premise is based on like this account of this like weird angel, right, or this ghost angel.
Right.
But much of it, much of the texture and the theme of the comics was based around just the war, right? And I
Mhm.
think
Mhm.
they did really well to just focus on that and just have the Ouija come in and out. Because at first you thought, well, at first I thought it was just the one predator because you know you're used to that in the
Right.
movie.
Yeah. And then all
So
of
to
a sudden
see,
you see 2 more.
yeah, well,
Yeah.
when the first predator head just falls off, you know,
Yeah.
and sorry, is it Bouchard? I can't remember the guy, the French
Oh,
guy. He comes across it. Um, that was kind of like, oh wow. So what happens now? Like, you know,
yeah,
it's the
exactly.
predator's dead, but
Yeah.
it's not the only one.
Yeah.
This was a touching scene as well, like because there was a friendship as well between
Mm,
Claude
mhm.
and Jean, I think was his
Yeah.
name. But
Yeah.
his mate doesn't make it,
Yeah. Yeah.
unfortunately. But he still sees. He comes across the helmet, and he sees all the atrocities, and we see the helmet
He
at the end of the story. Justin, so is that? Do you make that? Was he still alive then?
well,
This
that's what I
French
was trying to
soldier?
that's what I was trying
Yeah,
to make out in my mind with the math. I thought, well, if this
Jean
story
Brunard.
was this story, I
Yeah,
think it came out in '88, right? I think it
yeah.
was '88 or '89. So
So if he was young, if he was
if
20
he,
in 1916,
yeah,
it'd be like
he
close to. It could potentially be really old though.
he'd be super old, or it could be like a relation of his that he
Yes.
entrusted the stuff to, and he said, in
That's
the
true.
event of somebody ever requesting this stuff, you have my permission to give them this thing.
Yeah. Yeah. No, no, absolutely. What did you think of the ending? I thought it was good. I mean, I like how it rounded it out. I think it's really weird because the ending was almost like telling the reader and telling you know the guy, oh, fuck, I can't remember these guys, but telling the lawyer and his partner that the predators are real. But it's
Mm,
so funny because as the reader, we kind of know that,
mhm.
like it's established for us. But I don't know. What did you think of the ending?
Yeah, it kind of left it open. Yeah, which it could
Mm,
have gone a whole bunch of different ways. Like I think the lawyer's name is Irving. Like
Irving, yeah,
if Irving
yeah,
took this to the CIA and
mm,
tried to use this as a piece of evidence to defend this guy
mm,
that he's defending, like I wonder like how that would have gone out, like how they
yeah,
would have accepted that. Or
mm,
any of the evidence, really, the journal from Jean in World War One, like any of that evidence,
yeah.
I think that they would have called that into question, probably.
Oh yeah, they could easily. I mean, it was quite again a bit of an indictment on their office, right? Because it
Mm,
mentions here they claim Joe Bob hung himself. This was the guy at the very beginning
right,
that had come across the Yautja and they were trying to cover it up. Who, sorry, Irving was representing.
right,
He
because
was the lawyer.
they thought that he was responsible for that massacre in the beginning,
Yes. Yeah,
Joe
you
Bob.
thought that he was. Yeah, he was a
Yeah.
little bit unhinged, wasn't he? So.
He was a little cagey, so it's not beyond the realm of possibility. But
Yeah.
that's why Irving was called in to be his defense lawyer, and that's why he
Yeah.
was doing this research with his wife Gwen helping him. Yeah,
Yeah.
um,
But yeah, no, so it was,
it was
I don't
cool.
know, it was
It
really
was
cool.
cool, but it wasn't the ending I was expecting.
Yeah.
I yeah, I was kind of expecting like some type of weird courtroom scene, but
Yeah, right.
we
Right.
didn't get
Yeah.
that.
And I mean, it has the wow factor, like
Mm,
it kind of speaks of, I don't know, there's those sorts of stories where it ends on that. And it's like, oh wow,
mm,
it was real all along.
right.
It wasn't just fabricated stories. So that
Yeah.
was, it was a nice effect.
Mhm.
But yeah, I wouldn't know how else to end it. I think, you know, by because they're both distrusting of the CIA, their own
Mhm.
place of employment. I think it was good, that we saw how um how sinister they can be by like having Joe Bob hang himself, which
Yeah.
you wouldn't believe. You'd believe he'd just been silenced.
Right,
Um,
right.
and that leads into the CIA represented, or actually, sorry, the OWLF represented in Predator 2, and yeah, and the
Yeah,
CIA Dylan in Predator. So it just kind of
right.
leans into that. Um, but yeah, the art was fantastic, as you mentioned.
So good.
Comeuppance here
Yeah. Oh,
of
man, I loved that.
the
Yeah.
violence, Justin. The
Oh,
violence. I'm going to
yeah.
draw you back to one particular panel. There's one
I
where
think
he's talking like theoretically about like the last few soldiers alive just fighting tooth and nail.
mhm.
Did you remember that?
I think
Let
I
me
know
see.
which
There
one
it
you
is.
mean. Yeah.
Up there,
Yes, yes, and they're stabbing each other.
stabbing each other in the
And
head, pulling each other's intestines. The guy's got his eyeball. He's ripped it out. It's
yeah,
really
and
gross.
you see the face of death on one corner,
Yep,
and in the other corner, you see the face of the Yucha watching it all.
that's
A
good.
and
Yeah.
this next part too, where these 2,
Yes.
fancy pants sergeants or generals or whatever are driving through on their
Oh
in their
my god.
fancy car and both get shot through the head.
And everybody is happy about it. Like what got me
Yes, the
was the
driver, yeah.
chauffeur. The driver's laughing, and
Yeah.
then it looks like the Brits are coming, like the Tommies, and it looks like,
Mhm.
uh-oh, you're in trouble, Frenchie. But they're going, have
Yeah.
a smoke. Good on you. Or
Yeah,
actually,
yeah.
good Virginia smokes. Are they? Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, so
Yeah. I
it's
love it.
crazy.
I
But
love it.
yes, so I love these little bits. It kind of detours a little to little. You get a sense of, and it's that commentary again of
Mhm.
that perforates throughout this, about
Yes.
how the leaders had no idea back in this war about what they were kind of like, the consequences and the gravity of what they were doing.
Mhm.
Like that
Yeah.
general at the end's like, "Oh, you're all cowards. Come on, don't be like a woman and go out and
Mhm.
fight."
Yeah.
And push, push, push. And there was one before about the thousands and thousands died to try and defend this trench or something that the general said was worthless. Like, what's the point?
Yes. Yeah,
Yeah,
and there was another reference too earlier about how there was a fortress that it had, like, thousands of troops, but the general had decided in his infinite wisdom that the fortress was redundant or whatever, so he
yeah,
decided to clear out all of the soldiers and clear out all of the big guns and everything, leaving just a skeleton crew behind
yeah.
to defend this massive installation against a
Ah,
German army. Like, it's unbelievable just the
it's
detachment from reality that
yeah,
the commanding people had. And you often wonder, like, why why weren't there more incidents like we saw in this, where they just rose up against the general, just
yeah.
shoved them out into the field, into the mustard
Oh,
gas? I often
absolutely.
wonder why that didn't happen more often. You would think
Yeah,
that just the severity of this conflict would have instilled some
yeah.
form of rebellion, just as a
Oh,
form of
absolutely.
a natural reaction.
I mean, there was that, again, we're talking about the same general. I think towards the end here, there's something about he's in the hospital, the infirmary, and
Mm, mhm.
it's kinda like anyone, what is it? 2 weeks maximum, then back to the front. He says,
Mm,
"Those who
yes.
refuse, shoot them." And then
Yeah.
there's also executions, well timed to keep the cowards in line. I mean, this is just barbaric, like,
Yeah. It
what
is.
you're doing this to your fellow man.
Yeah.
It's a crazy snippet, and I know this is a comic, but, it actually, I think it is actually drawing on, these things that happened back in World War
Mhm.
One.
Right.
And
This
it
is
is
real
just
stuff. Yeah.
it's
Like
so atrocious.
the mustard gas and the
Yeah,
trenches. He was talking about, how at one point he was so numb that he couldn't even tell that he had pissed himself.
yeah, yeah,
Like,
and
I just
yeah,
yeah, and just smelling the rot of the cadavers and just
yeah,
the trench latrines he was talking about. Just, it's very visceral, this
it
script
is.
and the artwork. You really get the sense of really the
Yeah.
hellscape that this was. Yeah.
And I mean, and we're talking about like Yautjas and predators. I mean, you look at the human behavior here, and like
Yeah.
who is really the monster?
Right, exactly.
It's
Even
so
even the Yautja pale in comparison
yeah.
to what's happening in this. Yeah.
There should have been like a panel or something, or some little interlude showing how disgusted the predators were. Like, on what sort of alien race is this? This is like a
Yeah.
terrible.
Maybe
Yeah,
after the mustard gas, like, after they exposed to that, like, they just kind of
yeah.
walk away and, like, "No, we're not gonna do this."
Eh, I mean, having said that though, if I can somehow track to the first issue, at the end of issue one, you do see the Yautja just hunched over, almost
Mm,
enjoying the carnage that follows. So I guess that really typifies how bloodthirsty the Yautja are as well, because
true.
you think, oh, this is terrible. Like, as I mentioned, wouldn't they just be disgusted? But here, this
Oh,
last
there he
one,
is, yes, yeah.
yeah, and I love this. Like, there's a lot of these sound
Mm,
effects.
mhm.
It just gives you that real sense of how drowned out everything was in that, in the trenches, or in that area when they're fighting. And
Yes.
there that Yautja is just hunched over, almost look like it's grinning, just
Yeah,
enjoying
he
this.
does look like, yeah. It could
Yeah.
be just because he's just gotten a trophy that he's happy about,
Mm,
but
yeah.
I think you're right. I think he's kind of, and this could be, early on, in the
Mm,
Yocha's, presence in this conflict, so maybe they hadn't quite
yeah.
witnessed the horrors that were
True.
to come. But
Yeah,
yeah,
true.
there's a page right before that too that was really good. That one right
Oh, this
there.
one,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah, that's
It reminded me
tremendous.
of Predator 2, actually, just because the lightning and the
Yeah.
helmet. almost
Hmm.
look like, it's got almost that beak, like
Yes,
Predator 2, the city hunter.
definitely. Yeah, yeah.
Um, but yeah, I mean, gosh, as if these poor sods had trouble enough with their own generals. And, with the war, they've got to contend with this kind of beast now, just killing
Yeah,
indiscriminately. It's
yeah. It's so
yeah.
wild. Yeah, I love it. And what a great concept for a Predator story. Truly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love it.
Oh, absolutely. And I think it gives room, like right here as well in this page, it gives room. You do see some heroics. So there's this
Hmm.
lieutenant, I think, and he wants to save. He goes out because one of the guys, the Sarge, goes out, but he gets shot.
Hmm.
So the lieutenant goes, "Stuff this! I'm going to do this myself." And he goes through in the fire, in the line of
Yeah.
fire, and
Leaps
he
up
runs
with
out
the
of.
bandolier. Yeah.
Yeah, and he runs out of bullets, but still goes in and just like kills everyone there. So he's, you know, he would be a trophy, I guess, but
Yes.
unfortunately for him, he's left without a head at the end of it. um,
Yeah, which is great because it means that the predator was specifically watching and picking
yeah,
people that stood out from this massive crowd of bodies
yeah.
and fighting humans. Like
I
there
mean,
must
but
have been millions of people on that battlefield, so they had to
absolutely.
be very picky about which trophies they wanted.
But isn't that so? Oh my god, just heartbreaking, Justin. Because like
Yeah.
this guy fought so hard to survive already. This
Uh,
war
yeah,
did so
it did so
well.
much. Yeah.
Yet, but, just gets taken out by something that is not even part of it.
That
It's
he
a
that he
little bit
never had a chance against.
never
Like, with
it's
that with
quite
that with that bayonet, like, what could he have done
yeah,
against a Yautja with that? Like,
it's so tragic.
oh, man, yeah.
But yeah, again, I can't stress enough the art is just brilliant. I'm
It's so
assuming
good.
it's what like a lot of the art war comics were kind of like.
Mhm.
But you get a lot of death and destruction everywhere, just bodies littered everywhere.
Mm.
The incessant rat-a-tat-tat, tack, 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 tack of the guns.
Constant noise, constant sounds,
Mm.
barrage.
Uh, yeah, I
Oh, and
love how the
that page too was great,
yeah,
yeah.
Predator's drawn really well there,
You
and
see
just very
the
simple.
mhm. Yeah, you see the bodies flying up in the background from the explosions.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's
there's a
so
lot
good.
that there's a lot that the Predator has to kind of navigate
Mhm.
around. I mean, look at this. There's this where the French cavalry went up against like these guns,
Yeah, with swords.
with
Yeah,
swords and
yeah.
horses against these
Oh
tanks and
god.
cannons. It's just again the atrocities of war. Dare I say, Justin, just beautifully drawn. I mean, in all
Yeah,
its kind of terror and horror.
yeah.
Um, but yeah, it was fantastic to revisit this, Justin,
Mm.
and I think because of its two issue, like it was readable like in a short amount of time. It was wholly satisfying. I
I
found.
think so too. I think because of the subject matter and it being so dark and so heavy, I think
Mm,
if it had been a longer story, I think it would have been a harder read. I think it would have been more difficult to get through.
yeah, and I think actually, again, just thinking about it, it's great that we do get Irving.
Mhm,
Um, telling it so we do get that break, yeah, we
mhm.
are kind of distanced in a sense because yeah, if we're stuck in that for too long, you just go mad as well.
Yeah, sure.
Don't want
Yeah.
to liken us to those honorable soldiers that actually uh, encountered that firsthand experience, but yeah,
Mhm.
it will just get overwhelming as
Yeah,
well.
definitely.
um
Yeah.
so Justin, out of, I guess, are we going to do, yeah, we'll do overall because it's only two issues.
Yeah, yeah.
um
How many skulls would you give this one, Ray?
I'd be hard pressed not to give it a good full marks, Justin. I think I'll give it
Mm.
5 full marks. It still holds up so well after reading it first when, I was a wee lad, a young teenager. Different experiences. I appreciated it more now than I did back then. Back then, I was probably more titillated by,
Mm.
the
Th
R-ratedness of it. But now, like, just immersing myself in just the writing of Dan
Mhm.
Barry, just
It's
really
so good.
thoughtful writing,
Yeah.
and the art is so beautiful. After having read thousands of comics now, it just holds up really well. And there's nothing wrong with, like, this is a perfect example of sparing use of the predators, and I
Yes.
absolutely don't mind it at all.
Mhm. I
But
agree.
how about
Yeah.
you?
I think this is perfect to me. I think I'd give this 5.
Mm,
5 out of 5
yeah.
skulls. Yeah, this is going
Wow.
on the trophy wall for me. Yeah, to
Yeah.
me, this is a perfect Predator story, really. The
Mm,
setting, the intro, the even the ambiguous ending, like, and also we get some really cool little bits with Irving and his wife, like them just
mm.
kind of being a cute married couple, and
Yeah.
her helping translate this French stuff for him. Like, it was really cool to have that character interlude as well, to humanize everything as well.
Yes.
But yeah, I love this. I loved how sparingly the Yautja were used. I loved the fact that oftentimes they were under threat as much as the human beings in the story. It was so cool. Yeah, I loved it. I loved the concept. I love the artwork, as you mentioned, Chris Warner. Gosh,
Mm.
he can really do no wrong in my book.
He's
Anything I've seen him do, I've always been impressed by it.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, he's fantastic. I mean, it is really good. I mean, Ho-Chi Clan members, if you haven't read it, go seek it
Mhm.
out. Either in floppy format. I don't think it's not jumped in price by any means. You can get it in floppy, I'm sure. It's in the omnibus, as we've mentioned. It's looking really beautiful in it. I just want to say
Yep.
also Irving as well. He's a bit of a ladies' man. There's actually another. Wasn't there some lady that he was at work at the CIA? He wanted to book a travel expense, a work
Oh,
flight.
yes. Yeah.
And she's I can't remember what she said, but she's like, yeah, she was insinuating, "Oh, you're taking her. You're not going to take anyone else." Yeah, I thought that was pretty funny.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
He's
but
in
yeah,
demand.
yeah, exactly. But no, it was really good. I just thought it was just really well thought story.
Mhm.
Yeah, I wish there's a reason why a lot of the earlier Dark Horse stuff is still revered, and I think
Mm,
we've seen that with Big Game, and now we've seen it again in the Bloody Sands of
definitely.
Time.
Yeah,
So well worth a read,
absolutely.
listeners.
I would love to see this adapted somehow in the
Mm,
form of some animation or like
animation.
a short film. I think with animation it would be great, because then you could
Mm,
really get the tone of this World War I stuff,
yeah,
and do some interesting visual things with it as well. So,
yeah,
yeah,
and
hopefully
I
we'll see
mean
that some.
exactly, and not to be a cheapskate and stuff, but in animation you could do a lot more, like a lot of the effects and stuff like that.
Yes.
You wouldn't have to stage explosions and
Right.
stuff over there. So and so it can be done effortlessly and still look really, really beautiful. Like again, the highlight for me, one of the highlights, as you said, Chris Warner's art here. So if you have that somehow translated into the animation, um, that kind of style, it would be beautiful. So
Definitely.
yeah, so far out, full marks for this. I
Yeah.
love it. Like I don't know, like something just itching or scratching at the door, Justin. There is Cold War coming up soon. Um, I just feel like we're supping on the glory of Dark Horse Predator.
Yes.
We're gonna fall hard on our faces soon. Yeah, we are. Just warning you.
Well, still, we also have some other really good
Yeah.
ones to look forward to,
Oh yeah, yeah,
including,
absolutely.
I thought it would be fun. We'll tell the listeners about my little idea.
Yeah.
There's a story called Rite of Passage that I think is next in the omnibus,
Mhm.
which is set in Africa. And I
Mm.
thought it would be fun because Black Panther versus Predator is coming up at the end of
Yes.
August. It would be
Yep.
fun to go back and review this story, and see how they compare to each other. So I thought it would be fun to do that next month, Rite of Passage,
Yes.
which
I'm
is
having a look
another,
now. Looks pretty
looks
good.
like
Yep.
it's another 2-issue story.
Yep.
Yep.
That'd be good. No, I'm totally up for that, and I think that would coincide really well with Black Panther. So
Yeah. Nice.
yeah, looking forward to that.
Yeah.
Justin, any other shout outs where listeners can see you or hear
Oh,
you?
well, you can find me and my pal Russell over at Gamma Charge, the strongest
Gamma
podcast there
charge.
is. We talk about the
Yes.
Hulk every month. We do have a new interview with writer David Pepose coming out, where we talk about
Mm.
his work on the Incredible Hulk annual last year, which was great,
Hmm.
as well as his work on the Savage Avengers, where he wrote Weapon
Ah,
H.
yes.
Yeah, it was fun.
Oh, yeah, Weapon H. Yes.
Yeah.
A very
That was
funny character.
yeah, definitely. But that was a great little chat. So I'm looking forward to the listeners getting a chance to check that out. You can also find me over at Capes and Lunatics with Phil, talking about a whole bunch of
Yeah.
stuff over there with classic X-Men, Marvel Tales, and Energon Universe, all
Far out.
kinds of stuff. Yeah,
That's
yeah.
awesome. Keeping yourself busy, Justin. Keep
Oh
yourself off
yes.
the streets.
That's right. That's right. How about you, Ray?
Yeah.
Anything you wanted to plug into the night?
Into the Night, we so recently released 2 episodes with Rebecca and myself, just with all the latest releases of Moon Knight. So we're just paring it back a bit right now. We used to be a weekly show. At one stage, we were releasing 2 episodes a week, but now just focusing on the new releases of Moon Knight. Just we've both got things going on. Rebecca's got a new-ish job, which has kind of just changed availability. So, but we're still around.
Mhm.
So we have done recently the latest Vengeance of the Moon Knight issue 6, and
Nice.
the Moon Knight Fist of Khonshu issue 0, which was released just
Ooh, I still have to
last
get that.
week.
Ooh.
Yeah, it was good, Justin. Let's say, I mean, there's nothing in there that you wouldn't know. It was very much, it was advertised as a jumping on point for
Oh, okay.
new fans, and that's
Oh, okay.
exactly what it is.
I see.
It's like a file. It's called Conchu's Strike file. It's
Oh, like a
profiles
catch-up
each.
issue. Yeah.
Yeah, it just kind of showcases each of the characters
Gotcha.
and what they are in a nutshell. So,
Okay.
very, very good though. Looking
Nice.
forward to that and many more issues to come. Like Justin, I'm on the Capes and Lunatics network as well. Phil, Dave, and I cover Scarlet Spider. So, gosh, I
Ultimate
can't remember.
Spider Cast.
Yes, on the Ultimate Spidercast, last Tuesday of every month. I can't even remember now. I think we finished the last 2 issues of that 25 issue Christopher Yost run.
Mm.
If not, we've still got like 1 left or something. We're very close. Then we'll have to jump onto another run. I can't wait for the Peter David Scarlet Spider
Ooh,
run.
yeah.
Just
That
waiting for that.
hopefully that's coming up soon. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd love that. We're a bit of a hiatus with the Spider Woman podcast with
Mm.
Saren. I'll be in touch with her again. Hopefully, we can find some time to do it. I mean, Spider Woman's still going strong, so there's a lot to talk about. And finally, Ray Plays Games. It's still going. It's on YouTube. Go check it out. I play a lot of solo, 1-player games, or it's a thing. If you play these card games, you can play both hands to play as 2 players, and get the dynamics of that. But yeah, that's good. I released a Final Girl just recently, where I had what if it was like a what if, Justin, is what if the
Ooh.
organism from the Thing
Oh.
made its way to Santa's village, and what if the final girl was Red Riding Hood? So I had those 3 elements put together. It was
Oh my
awesome.
God. I've got to watch that.
Yeah, Red. Her name's Red. I created a story like she went to seek Santa's help because of the big bad wolf, but she found carnage at Santa's village. Elves just strewn everywhere, and the mutated organism running rampant. It was a lot of fun.
Oh my God, I've got to watch that. That sounds fantastic.
It was a lot of fun.
Oh, I love it.
Well,
I hope
I
that
love your
Rudolph. I hope that Rudolph survived.
well, you'll have to watch and see. I'm not sure about
Okay.
Ed Elf. That's what I'm all saying. He may have met a grisly outcome, but we'll see. I love your reaction. Just I've got to make more of them. Then it's the beauty of Final Girl. You can chop and change everything. So that's what I did there.
Oh, that's fantastic. Yeah, that's a great
Yeah.
that's a great combination.
But Justin, it's been an absolute pleasure again
Yes, as
chatting with
always,
you.
definitely.
I,
Yeah,
I'm so glad that we both got to chat together about the Bloody Sands of Time.
me too.
Fantastic
Especially since it was
issues.
your first, your first Predator story.
Yeah,
Nice to revisit the classic. Yeah.
yeah. I mean, seriously, Justin, it's over 20 years ago. Like crazy.
Wow. Yeah,
Is
it's
that 20 years?
wild.
30 years ago? Over 30
30.
years ago. Holy
Yeah.
moly, Justin.
Oof.
30 years ago. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
Anyway.
They've held up
Listeners,
well. They've held up well over 35
they've
years.
held up.
Yes.
So a 30-year-old
Yes.
comic, it still
I'm
reads
impressed.
brilliantly.
Yeah.
Oh my
I'm
god.
impressed. And I'm excited to read more. Yeah.
With that, faithful listeners, as always, Justin and I,
Yes,
we
that's right.
always have to remind you that
Shit
it
happens.
happens. Catch you later.
See you next time, everyone.